Ole Miss is going to go play LSU. Now, Ole Miss is a top 10 ranked program. LSU's favored in this game. LSU, in my opinion, made a statement to the rest of the country last week, beating Florida. At Florida, no less. They went to the Swamp and got a dub. And they did a lot of things that, honestly, a lot of us thought they couldn't do. Scored 45 points offensively, and they started fast. I mean, that was the thing we had been begging for from this program for a long time. They scored on their first 6 possessions. They didn't punt until the 4th quarter. You heard me right. They didn't punt until late in this game. That's something we've been asking for from LSU for a long time. With a makeshift offensive line, Jayden Daniels, this receiving core, the run game, and Josh Williams, it looked like it was clicking. Now, this is a dangerous time for everybody else in that conference for LSU to sort of be getting it. Looking for in this game, is that who LSU is, or is that just a one-game scenario where you got some good matchups, it was your night? More on that in a second. For Ole Miss, they're a quality top 10 team. They're undefeated. Everything they want is in front of them. Don't look now, but they're leading the SEC West. They're undefeated. Got a date with Bama in the future, but everything they want is in front of them. If you're Ole Miss, do you flinch? So we're going to find out. Going to Death Valley, you find out real quick. Going back to what I was saying a second ago, especially for the LSU offense, like, is this who you are? Are you a team that's going to be consistently efficient now and it just took that game to kind of get the wheel spinning and it's going to snowball now? Or is that, like I said, a one-game scenario where you play well, a couple things break your way, you ate your Wheaties, whatever it is? Is that a fluke or is that your identity? Because if it's who they are, then they're going to be able to, at the very least, be equipped in a shootout with Ole Miss. Because Ole Miss is going to score 38 per the stats. I mean, they're scoring 38 a game. Now, do they score 38 in this game? I don't know. But if they did, you like your chances a lot better if you're LSU. What I'm trying to say here is they can go toe-to-toe, they can go toe-to-toe regardless of the way this gameplay unfolds, if this is the kind of offense that LSU really has. Now, if they can't, you got to lean on that defense. And that defense is really good. I know they had 35 hung on them last week, but that defense is really good. But at the same time, 35 points is not a small feat for an offense in Florida that was inconsistent at times. Do you really want to ask them to try and stop an Ole Miss program that's scoring 38 a game? I don't think so. I don't think that's the world you really want to live in, especially with how they struggled last week. Something to watch for, because I was really impressed by Jayden Daniels and Kayshon Boutte. Been waiting for them to get it going. They got it going. Is that who they are, or is that just a fluke? The other thing I'm looking at, the other hinge point for us in this game, who gets their way? It sounds funny to say, but who gets their way, especially in the trenches? Ole Miss runs the ball just about as much as anybody in the country. Number 5 in terms of percentage they run the football. It's them and the academies, if we want to be real about it. 65% of the time they are running the ball, and they do it really well. 277 yards a game on the ground. They're going to run the football. That's their attitude. That's their identity. That's their mentality. LSU, on the other hand, is pretty solid against the run. Not going to say they're all-world, lighting the world on fire, but they're only allowing 135, and they got a lot of dudes in that front 7, especially B.J. Ojulari, that are going to play at the next level very soon. So, which one of those gets their way? Is Ole Miss able to run the football and dictate their tempo? If they do, the question goes back to LSU's offense. You got to match scores. If Ole Miss gets ahead, I know they like to go a little bit quicker than the average Bear, but if they get ahead and they're running the football at the rate they want to, they can afford to just kind of take their time and really put the game at whatever kind of pace they want. Something to keep an eye on. Now, if they can't, the pressure goes to Jackson Dart, and that's where I really want to settle in here. Jackson Dart has a lot of ability. We haven't seen it from him just yet, but he's got a lot of ability. My concern is I don't think he looks extremely comfortable just yet in this offense. It's a new system to him, and it's a system that he's not familiar with at any level. Not at USC, not in high school. The RPO game is something that's completely new to him. It's like a whole new pair of shoes he's still breaking in. And if history is our teacher here, if he has to be a guy that throws the ball, the games where they have asked a higher volume from him in attempts has led to a little bit of a spotty record. Against Vanderbilt, 32 attempts, 2 interceptions. Now, he had 3 touchdowns to go with it, but 2 interceptions. If you're spotting 2 interceptions to this LSU defense, I don't know that you have the 3 touchdowns to go with it. All right? That's what I'm saying. The margin for error becomes a little bit smaller. 29 attempts against Kentucky. 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Like, you see what I'm asking here? You ask more of Jackson Dart, he's going to deliver as best he can, but there's going to be some ugliness baked in there. And for Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, that's not how they want to live. That's not the kind of game plan they want to have. And if that is the game plan that happens, I think it favors LSU. Just fact of the matter. Switching gears to the other quarterback, and Jayden Daniels, he's had musical chairs on the offensive line. We've said it, like 6 different units. Every single week, it's like you decide where you want to start this week, and we'll go out there, and that's going to be the way that we play offensive line. Draw a name out of the hat. Guess what? You're at left guard this week. You're at right tackle. On top of that, 2 true freshmen on the offensive line. In the SEC, it's a risky way to live. But credit LSU. They've done it. They did it well last week. Ran for over 100 yards. They were impactful. They were effective. Ole Miss is pretty good rushing the passer. Top 20 in terms of their sack rate. Right around 8% of the time, they're sacking the quarterback. Now, Jayden Daniels, what you know about him, a lot of the reason probably why he won the job is what he can do from a mobility standpoint. He's pretty good when the play breaks down. What we saw last week, though, was the extra mile that he went. We saw when the play broke down, it wasn't just get out and run the football. Now, he did that effectively. Don't get it twisted. But when he got out, when he's flushed out of the pocket, kept his eyes downfield. And we saw Kayshon Boutte eat, like we had waited for a while. We saw a number of these receivers get busy. It wasn't just dumping off to the tight end, dumping off to the running back. It was, I'm going to roll out, and that's when the big play can happen. So which of those do we see? Do we see eyes downfield Jayden Daniels, or do we see, hey, I'm going to get out, tuck it and run, and try and just pick up a few yards? If we see the latter, I promise you the Ole Miss front 7 is going to get to him. Maybe it works a couple times in the first quarter. Maybe it works a little bit in the first half. By the 3rd and 4th quarter, Ole Miss will make you pay for that. It's not a sustainable kind of way to live offensively. And LSU knows that. They tried to do that a lot in the early going. That was what we saw from Jayden Daniels the first few games. Offense sputtered. If he can keep his eyes downfield and feed these horses they have on the outside, good things are going to happen, just like we saw last week. So our prediction for this game. This line feels a lot like somebody knew something. It just does. I mean, 1.5 points against a top 10 team, and LSU is a program that we have honestly seen be very inconsistent all year long. Somebody knows something. So we're not going to be a sucker to that. Also, just quite frankly, I don't trust Ole Miss's resume. I'm looking down their list of wins, and Kentucky's impressive. Those of you that watched that game when Kentucky went to Ole Miss, they should have lost that game, right? I mean, there were multiple times where Kentucky just gifted them the game, whether it was turnovers in the red zone, whatever it was. There were many opportunities for Ole Miss to lose that game. Now, a win's a win, but I think their luck runs out when they go to Death Valley. Brian Kelly's got this program playing with a lot of grit, a lot of intensity, and they're starting to channel all that talent in the right direction at LSU. So I think it's close. I think it's exciting. I think that line is just about right. We have LSU winning the game 31-28 at home. Something's cooking in Baton Rouge. The Tigers get a top 10 win against Lane Kiffin and company. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.